Alright guys, let's go back again today. Hope you're doing that and enjoying your day so far. Neptune continues to talk after their $50,000 tournament victory against OpTic, calling out Dashy for his words during the grand finals, especially towards Ghosty. And then after that, Gentlemates went on to win the series 4-1. Formal says though there were some caveats and some asterisks on this series and the tournament, and Neptune continues to be talking a fair bit. Can Gentlemates back up their talk when the CDL officially starts in a couple of days? Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. Thanks to a lot of you guys who pointed out, including Nick here, that I'm on your like YouTube recap review or something. I thought this was actually incredible though. I know a lot of you guys pointed this out to me, but Nick is in the top 0.1% and he's watched 639 videos this year. I went back and had a look how many videos I'd made this year. This is the 644th video, and this may already be a couple of days behind. So I thought that was pretty amazing. Thanks for all of you guys for your support this year, and hopefully it's going to be a great CDL season to come as well. Let's talk about some power rankings. Now, Mack tried, as he always does, to get the coaches to vote in this, but that proved to be a bit of a challenge this year. So, because often we get these interesting power rankings, the coaches vote, and then you get to see a little bit of what it looks like in scrims behind the scenes. This year that's been a bit of a challenge. Maybe we can get that to work down the line. So a few of us voted in this. I think it's difficult to say where a lot of these teams lie, and many will look at this, including myself, and say Thieves just feel a bit high on this list. I think most people are going to say OpTic are number 1, Gentlemates number 2. Could you argue that right now they are both S-tier teams? Obviously, OpTic have to be there. They've won everything since May. Yeah, they didn't win this 50k LAN the other day. We'll discuss a little bit more of the drama with that in a second. And both of the matches they've played against Gentlemates have been particularly competitive over the last couple of weeks. Is that enough to say Gentlemates Paris are S-tier with them? You know, that's a debate, but everyone had OpTic number 1, Gentlemates number 2, basically. So that is what it is. Now, from there, it gets pretty interesting because, well, I guess we'll go from the bottom and work our way up. So most people are considering Surge to be the worst. It's interesting because before everything got underway, I think most people agreed that Surge, Ravens, Cloud9 and G2 were probably going to be the 4 weakest teams, with Falcons and Boston just above them. Now the tides have changed somewhat on that. Well, obviously G2 did really well in that 75k CDL kickoff, didn't they? They came 3rd in the end, beating a load of notable teams on the way. Is that enough to put them as the 3rd best team right now? You know, I'm not so convinced. I need a bit more evidence of that than just one online tournament. So I think for now, I'm still going to give the benefit of the doubt to the teams that should be better. But definitely G2 have moved up the power rankings from where maybe people thought that they would be. Again, who knows what happens when things properly get underway in a couple of days. But Surge have got Legends. He may get good in time, but for now, question marks on that. Ravens, you know, I thought they were probably going to be 12th. Okay, they're 11th. Congratulations. Cloud9, I think also they looked pretty good at that tournament the other day. They might be better than 9th, to be fair, because it's tough to say what really to expect out of Boston, Miami, certainly at the moment. And I do think that Thieves, FaZe, and even Toronto, they are ripe for getting upset, right? Like, yeah, maybe Thieves in 3rds. They almost, I don't know if Thieves have to be 3rds, but it's tough. Like, who else do you put over them? If you could argue that G2 are there because they came 3rd of that tourney the other day, but you know, we saw Thieves beat FaZe the other day, so it's not like you can really put FaZe over Thieves right now. So it feels like having them there is a bit too high, but like, who else do I put there instead, I suppose? And Toronto, while I think they'll be pretty good, I've not seen enough from them in that, obviously, the 75k tournament we saw these guys play in to say that they're comfortably going to be 3rd. I think it's kind of all to play for. Again, Heretics, I'm not sure they got better with the Trakes move for ReeaL. Pretty doubtful to me. Boston, I do have some high hopes for. But again, I have my questions on that team at the moment. I think they're pretty well placed. And then the Falcons down in 10th. I think many people had them maybe 7th or something, 7th or 8th, before we saw anything at all. But over the last couple of weeks since the game has come out, my faith in the Falcons was already quite slim. It has now dropped even further. So, yeah, I'm not particularly optimistic about that team's chances this season. What do you guys think about the power rankings? How would you do it? As I say, we will find out in the coming days. Now, Billy Mental is back. So you guys may remember Los Angeles Guerrillas back in Cold War, they brought on Mental. That was the time they had Nero on their bench and, well, mental Gears of War GOAT, basically. Greatest to ever do it in Gears of War. He made the transition to COD, and, you know, he wasn't terrible, like, he wasn't absolutely atrocious, but he played on their academy team for some time, and then LAG decided to make a roster change, and they thought, well, mental, so much talent, so much potential, we'll just send him in. And it didn't really work out. Now look, Mental's clearly a very talented player. With more time, making that transition to COD might have worked, and he's gone to Halo over the last couple of years and done pretty good things in Halo Infinite. I think he was playing for Quadrant, I might be wrong about that. But anyway, Mental is now back to COD, it seems. And as he says, he's a free agent for the Challengers Cup this weekend. So that's pretty exciting. And we do see a number of other players coming from other esports making some waves. This is Renegade's POV. We saw them playing a couple of things. It's just nice to see Renegade, you know, making a bit of progress. It does feel like his team and even Renegade individually moving in the right direction. He gets this first kill onto Encourage, and then, yeah, this final kill, pretty disgusting. Hits the little wall bounce, guns him all the way across the map. So, yeah, we'll see if we get more of that. Again, we discussed Lqgend on Surge. There is obviously a learning curve, right? Shotzzy took some time to get into the swing of things in COD for Modern Warfare 19, and also worth remembering for Shotzzy that he'd played quite a lot of Black Ops 4 in the preceding several months, whereas for some of these Halo guys, Mental now included really, they've made the transition over just the last couple of weeks. So it is going to be a challenge. We'll see if they can get good enough in time, effectively. Another clip I wanted to share, speaking of the Stallions, because that's who they were playing in that clip, ZooMaa was running some scrims between Stallions Red and Stallions Black. So Stallions Red is the main team. Encourage, Derek, Swooty, and Symbols, and they were having a little bit of a scrim against the new attempted Stallions Red team with Booger, Ryan, Swag Checked, and then Okis rounding out the team. So this is pretty funny because Okis has been looking really good. We talked about Dashy was watching his POV the other day saying, damn, this guy seems a bit too good to be true. But we know that this guy can shoot very straight. I mean, he's from Fortnite and all this. And that's what ZooMaa says during this clip. So, I mean, these second shots are really impressive, actually. And he goes 33 and 15 this map. Swag Checks, as always, put an absolute pace. So, yeah, pretty impressed by what not only ZooMaa's cooking up. I mean, obviously it's fantastic that they're seeing what ZooMaa's doing, giving some exposure to some of these players and helping grow the scene. Obviously gives good content for him to watch as well, but it's also great to see some actual talents in the Challengers side making some noise, right? And I think it's going to be a very exciting year of the CDL because some of those teams that we just mentioned, they will be terrible within the next couple of months. They will be looking down to Challengers. Who knows who will be the most promising players when they get there. So a couple of clips to share. Gonna share this one and then also what Neptune had to say on this big 50k tournament the other day.
They went up this, by the way. We gotta break this. Swag just on the heady.
He's not.
Bro, this guy fucking shoots straight as fuck.
You're muted, Tom. You asshole.
Oh, my bad.
Tom.
I'm sorry. It's not what it looks like. It's not what it looks like.
One's middle, he's checked.
Yeah, now they're definitely checked. Yeah, now they're definitely fucking checked. Hey. Nah, they're checked for sure now.
Hey, these fucking ones are shit.
Oh, my bad.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Michael
Michael
Myers, but there's his boy though for the trade. They're honestly such a good sub duo, dude.
Who, Kyler and A?
Yeah, they work so well together.
Oh my god.
I'm trying to go in.
I'm filling P2. They can be on there.
And
Nah,
loves
they
that little
just have that
spot.
like natural. They have like that natural, like just chem pacing. Like they both know what they're gonna do already. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
nah, for sure.
Like they don't even gotta call it. You just know Ant's getting lost.
Yeah. I think last night they ran the team 100%. Last night they 100% ran the team. Long ass checky day, lots of resets, a lot of time just kind of sitting there in that fucking facility, just on your little comfortable chairs. Like, can't even take yesterday serious. I doubt they really do either. I'm not going to take anything away from Gentlemates because Gentlemates is clear cut in the top 2 with them, I believe. Like, I think they both are playing the game how teams are going to be playing a month from now, and they've definitely learned the fastest. But I don't think the OpTic team's going to care too much about how last night went. Yeah, I mean, we watched party for 11 hours, bro, and, like, you're a player in that situation, bro. Like, you're getting told, like, bro, we might play on Denver server just to, like, speed it up, and you're like, bro, I'm at a LAN. What? Denver servers? That's a lot of checky shit, dude. Yeah, Neptune looked really fucking good yesterday. Ghosty looked really fucking good yesterday. Yeah, I mean, if you think that's Shotzzy playing at his best, like, you're just fucking on.
See, after the first HP, bro, I heard that shit live in the moment. I said, damn. How did you hear it if you're in another room though? Because they're screaming at the top of their lungs. They just fucking got done making the most insane comeback ever. And they're fucking literally screaming at the top of their lungs. I was like, alright, anyways. It's only one map, you feel me? I would never be like, bro, you should never chirp me again, bro. Like, no, obviously, like, it is what it is, part of the game. At the same time, though, bro, I mean, if you start chirping, bro, and then you lose 4 straight, like, just don't be surprised, bro. Like, you start getting your body lit up or some shit. Even though, I mean, like, we were honestly just showing, like, the whole series. Like, I don't think any of us even talk shit. Like, even Dan, like, I'm pretty sure he was singling out Dan for some reason. And I don't think Dan said shit then, to be honest. We just won 4 straight, and then we just said GG's and just moved on with our day.
So Neptune's certainly been doing a lot of talking, and in my opinion, as well he might, right? Gentlemates look really good. I don't think they're massively, like, better than expected. I thought they'd be top 4, Thieves, FaZe, Gentlemates, and all this. You know, I thought they'd kind of be mixing it up with Toronto. I think, you know, as a result of that, I guess they have been better than expected. My point is that there was obviously a lot of talent there. Neptune was always going to be really good at this game. Simp was likely to have a bit of a bounce back year. So Gentlemates are always going to be good. For them to be as competitive as they have been for the first couple of weeks, I think is very impressive. And look, they kind of need to be. Just, this may not be true, but people have looked at that roster, they look at the personalities, and they think, well, if things go badly wrong, you could imagine a bit of an implosion happening, right? So in some respects, they need to start well, and they absolutely have. There is a good argument that somebody else should have picked up Neptune, or at least tried. We think he was trying to go to Thieves. We think he was trying to go to FaZe. At least my understanding is that he was attempting to have conversations there. Neither of those teams were interested. And it's interesting when we look at some of these lineman cards in a second. Yes, it was only a 50k, you know, okay, only 50k, like big money on the line. But what I mean is only 4 teams at this event. The game isn't even out yet. There were some caveats with all the delays and everything this formal was suggesting there as well. So it is what it is. But the point is that Neptune was doing it all on the map a lot of the time. And the idea for FaZe was that, okay, 04 will be, you know, the piece who will unlock Simp, right? But is that going to be the case? Is that really going to work as well as potentially going and getting Neptune? Because look, he's been phenomenal last year, made all the finals though, didn't win anything, finally wins this tournament, and look, fair play. It might not be the biggest tournament or event or whatever of all time, but it's still something, and Neptune, I think, is feeling very confident in his gameplay right now, and as I say, as well he should be. And I love a little bit of the trash talk here, right? I think it makes for an entertaining dynamic. Some will look at this and say, oh, come on, Nep, you're talking a bit much here for winning a tournament that was like 1 a.m. and Shotzzy was half asleep and all this. But, and to be fair, it's not like Neptune stood up and gave a load of stick back to Dashy, but after they got comebacked on map 1 of the black cards, Dashy stood up and said, it's just Dan in finals, just Dan in finals. Thought it was pretty funny. And that's what Neptune says, right? What was he calling out Dan for? What's going on there? We know that those guys, I don't think there's like any crazy beef or drama between Dashy and Ghosty, but, you know, they're certainly not the best of friends. Their time on OpTic didn't end in an especially cordial way. I don't think Dashy is especially a big fan of the way that Ghosty talks about the GAs and in the GA chat and this type of stuff. So, you know, there's obviously a little bit of a rivalry going on there, and Dashy was within his right to stand up and talk a bit of trash after the comeback they made, but also then after losing the next 4 straight maps, Neptune's going to talk about it on stream. So, look, he's been talking quite a lot over the last couple of days. I think it's very exciting for this rivalry. I'm sure that FaZe and Toronto and Thieves, maybe some others, are going to get involved in this as well. But they win the tournament. Again, making these lineman cards with the right stats when you're only doing it off 12 players is a challenge. The other thing that ZooMaa mentioned this season for the lineman cards, because I know that many of you guys have said over the last couple of years, and fair enough, that the cards are skewed towards the teams that play on the faster maps, because it's based not on KD, these cards, but on kills per 10, hill time per 10, damage per 10 are key metrics. So let's say back in Vanguard, if you played a lot of Bocage, then, or let's say your control map, because it's a clear-cut example, because in Vanguard there were 2 control maps at the start of the year before Berlin came in. It was Tuscan and it was Gavutu. If you played Gavutu, your stats would be slow. Your kills per 10, your damage per 10 would be bad. So you would look bad. But obviously, if your team likes to play Tuscan, even if you were terrible, you'd still look better on the stat line than some of the guys who were playing a lot of Gavutu, right? So the point is, this year we're going to try and standardize that. So there will no longer be any fast map cheese, that if a team really likes playing all the quick maps rather than the slower maps, they will not be advantaged in the card stats. That is our intention this season. Anyway, Neptune 99 overall. I think the most notable thing here really is that, yeah, Dan Ghosty's sitting in the hill. Shock horror, right? But it's not like Neptune is running around doing nothing. And yes, they pretty much dominated the tournament. They were 4-2 in hardpoints, 70 seconds in hill time for Neptune, which is, yeah, very good, right? I mean, it's got to be said, he's certainly up there in the SMGs in the tournament. He had more than Envoy did, and still was delivering very high kills per 10 and a good KD as well. So I think that's kind of the question that people are looking at, especially when it comes to teams like FaZe, that, okay, maybe 04 is going to be the right partner to Simp in due course, but it's not like Neptune doesn't also get in the hill and do that work too. So very much into your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.